There's currently over 1,000 TED Talks on the TED website, and I guess many of you here think that this is quite fantastic. Except for me, I don't agree with this. I think we have a situation here. Because if you think about it, 1,000 TED Talks, that's over 1,000 ideas worth spreading. How on earth are you going to spread 1,000 ideas? Even if you just try to get all of those ideas into your head by watching all those 1,000 TED videos, it would actually currently take you over 250 hours to do so. And I did a little calculation of this. The damage to the economy for each one who does this is around $15,000. So having seen this danger to the economy, I thought we need to find a solution to this problem. Here's my approach to it all. If you look at the current situation, you have 1,000 TED Talks. Each of those TED Talks has an average length of about 2,300 words. Now, take this together and you end up with 2.3 million words of TED Talks, which is about 3 Bibles worth of content. The obvious question here is, does a TED Talk really need 2,300 words? Isn't there something shorter? I mean, if you have an idea worth spreading, surely you can put it into something shorter than 2,300 words. The only question is, how short can you get? What's the minimum amount of words you would need to do a TED Talk? While I was pondering this question, I came across this urban legend about Ernest Hemingway, who allegedly said that these 6 words here, for sale, baby shoes, never worn, were the best novel he had ever written. And I also encountered a project called 6-word memoirs, where people were even asked, take your whole life, and please sum this up into 6 words, such as these here: found true love, married someone else, or living in existential vacuum, it sucks. I really like that one. So, if a novel can be put into 6 words, and a whole memoir can be put into 6 words, you don't need more than 6 words for a TED Talk. We could have been done by lunch here. I mean, and if you did this for all 1,000 TED Talks, you will get from 2.3 million words down to 6,000. So I thought this was quite worthwhile. So I started asking all my friends, please take your favorite TED Talk and put that into 6 words. So here are some of the results that I received. I think they're quite nice. For example, Dan Pink's talk on motivation, which was pretty good. If you haven't seen it, drop carrot, drop stick, bring meaning. It's what he's basically talking about in those 18.5 minutes. Or some even included references to the speakers, such as Nathan Myhrvold's speaking style, or the one of Tim Ferriss, which might be considered a bit strenuous at times. The challenge here is, if I try to systematically do this, I would probably end up with a lot of summaries, but not with many friends in the end. So I had to find a different method. I had preferably involving total strangers. And luckily, there's a website for that called Mechanical Turk, which is a website where you can post tasks that you don't want to do yourself, such as, please summarize this text for me in 6 words. And I didn't allow any low-cost countries to work on this, but I found out I could get a 6-word summary for just 10 cents, which I think is a pretty good price. Even then, unfortunately, it's not possible to summarize each TED Talk individually, because if you do the math, you have 1,000 TED Talks, you pay 10 cents each, you have to do more than 1 summary for each of those talks, because some of them will probably, or are really bad. So I would end up paying hundreds of dollars. So I thought of a different way by thinking, well, the talks revolve around certain themes. So what if I don't let people summarize individual TED Talks to 6 words, but give them 10 TED Talks at the same time and say, please do a 6-word summary for that one? I would cut my cost by 90%. So for $60, I could summarize 1,000 TED Talks into just 600 summaries, which would actually be quite nice. Now, some of you might actually right now be thinking it's downright crazy to have 10 TED Talks summarized into just 6 words, but it's actually not. Because there's an example by a statistics professor, Hans Rosling. I guess many of you have seen 1 or more of his talks. He's got 8 talks online, and those 8 talks can basically be summed up into just 4 words, because that's all he's basically showing us. Our intuition is really bad. It always proves us wrong. So people on the internet, some didn't do so well. I mean, when I asked them to summarize the 10 TED Talks at the same time, some took the easy route out. They just had some general comment. Others, and there were others, and I found this quite cheeky. They used their 6 words to talk back to me and ask me if I'd been too much on Google lately. And finally, also, I never understood this. Some people really, they came up with their own version of the truth. I mean, I don't know any TED Talk that kind of contains this, but Oh well, in the end, however, and this is really amazing, for each of those 10 TED Talk clusters that I submitted, I actually received meaningful summaries. Here are some of my favorites. For example, for all the TED Talks around food, someone summed this up into food shaping body, brains, and environment, which I think is pretty good. Or happiness, striving toward happiness, moving toward unhappiness. So here I was. I had started out with 1,000 TED Talks, and I had 600 six-word summaries for those. Actually, it sounded nice in the beginning, but when you look at 600 summaries, it's quite a lot. It's a huge list. So I thought, I probably have to take this one step further here and kind of create summaries of the summaries. And this is exactly what I did. So I took the 600 summaries that I had, put them into 9 groups according to the ratings that the talks had originally received on TED.com, and asked people to do summaries of those. Again, there were some misunderstandings. For example, when I had a cluster of all the beautiful talks, someone thought I was just trying to find the ultimate pickup line here, but in the end, amazingly, again, people were able to do it. For example, all the courageous TED Talks, people dying or people suffering, there was also one with easy solutions around. Or the recipe for the ultimate jaw-dropping TED Talk, Flickr photos of intergalactic classical composer. I mean, that's the essence of it all. Now, I had my 9 groups, but I mean, it's already quite a reduction, but of course, once you're that far, you're not really satisfied. I mean, I wanted to go all the way down the distillery, starting out with 1,000 TED Talks. I wanted to have 1,000 TED Talks summarized into just 6 words, which would be a 99.9997% reduction in content, and I would only pay $99.50, so stay even below $100 for it. So I had 50 overall summaries done. This time I paid 25 cents because I thought the task was a bit harder. And unfortunately, when I first received the answers, and here you see 6 of the answers, I was a bit disappointed because I think you'll agree, they all summarize some aspect of TED, but to me they kind of felt a bit bland, or they just had a certain aspect of TED in them. So I was almost ready to give up when one night I played around with these sentences and found out that there's actually a beautiful solution in here. So here it is. A crowd-sourced 6-word summary of 1,000 TED Talks at the value of $99.50. Why the worry? I'd rather wonder. Thank you very much.